kind, benevolent ruler decided that he had had enough of the evil being around. And he's like nothing can exist in my kingdom that is not love. And so slowly all of the evil got like coagulated into a big giant blob as it was making its way out of the kingdom by the power of the Kree. But then some little jackass kid saw the big blob of evil and was like, I'll love you. And so all of that evil was going to go into the child. And everybody thought that would be a terrible idea, to have it all concentrated into one kid. So they decided that they'd all love it a little.
That's the
Midwestuary 2025, August 22nd through the 24th, in Elmhurst, Illinois. A weekend you won't want to miss, with special guests Cale Zeldin, Paul Vanderklay, Rod Dreer, Elizabeth Oldfield, John Vervaeke, and Jonathan Pajot. Midwestuary 2025, the Fellowship of the Spirit. Stay tuned for more details. Visit us at midwestuary.com for ongoing updates.
Which I will be going to, so I will hope to see some folks there. I do still need to get the tickets booked and housing reserved. How does it go on, Chris? But yeah, and then one more, and then we'll get going.
Design this knowing the hive mind watches? Have you not constructed the stage so that the very absence of rescuers is itself a beckoning call?
Good evening, Embody. Afriel here. We hope you're feeling virtually not alone. Tonight, I want to talk about flagging for PvP. Just give me a second to get this. Because unfortunately, if I don't turn the audio off, it messes it up when I'm trying to play branding. Or at least I think it does. I probably should test that off stream. Actually, let's take off the poop charm. But yeah, I want to talk tonight about flagging for PvP, which is kind of a concept from multiplayer online game space, where if you want to fight people in a certain area, then you have to voluntarily say, yes, I want to fight you. You have to flag for PvP. And then there's a kind of a related concept in RuneScape specifically, where you... I want Gathering Swarm, don't I? It's called being Skulled in RuneScape, so you have the wilderness up north of Varrock. I did not want to be overcharmed. Mark Pride's 3. Yeah, we'll go with Soulcatcher. It's fine. So in RuneScape, if you're in the wilderness, like it's the PvP area for everybody to play in, but you still have a penalty if you are the aggressor versus somebody who's being aggressed against. And so, oh, gosh darn it. The way that they show that is by putting a giant skull over your head. So it's called being skulled. Oh, he's charging at me, what the heck? It's irritating. But yeah. Oh my goodness. Where are you, Cornifer? Mr. Mapman? Oh, there's something here. And so in RuneScape, when you die, you're supposed to keep 3 items on death, your 3 most valuable items. But if you are skulled when you die, then you only keep, or you don't keep any valuable items. And there's one prayer that you can have on that increases that number by 1. So if you are skulled, then you get to keep 1 item. Oh, come on. If you are skulled, you get to keep 1 item, and then if you're not skulled, you get to keep 4. So there is kind of like some mitigation that you can do there. But still, there's a penalty for being the aggressor in the situation. And it seems to be the case that we recognize that more generally, that aggressive action removes certain protections against vulnerabilities. Like if somebody is engaging in criminal activity, we tend to have a lot less sympathy for them when they end up not necessarily getting hurt by the cops, but although that too. But like, if they get hurt by another criminal in the process of committing a crime, then it's kind of most people's reaction is just well, he had it coming. He was the one who flagged for PvP. Although they might not use that language specifically, that's the same sentiment is there. Mr. Mapman, where are you? Oh gosh. I cannot rest in the water. There we go. There we go. And so a lot of people will hold themselves to a standard of nonviolence in most cases. But there are cases where they are willing to break that standard, and usually it's because somebody else did something that warranted their aggression. The standard doesn't apply when they're acting in a defensive manner. Nice truck. And so just as an example, most people aren't going to hit somebody unprovoked, but they will hit somebody who hits them first. Oh, goodness. Ah. They will hit somebody who hits them first, or somebody who's trespassing in their house. Somebody who's done some action that has shown their aggressive intent. And that ends up warranting an aggressive response back from them, from the other person. Oh man. There we go. Why am I getting bad at music? Ow. I have to break the brace on that side, then I can break it from the other side. That's the idea. Or am I supposed to... Oh, I have to kill all these guys, I guess. And so yeah, the other thing that is important to keep in mind with this too is that people have a different response to provoked versus unprovoked violence, and a lot of times the thing that ends up being important is not just what does it mean whether I'm allowed to respond to someone being violent towards me. Is a lot of times the nature of other people's responses to my actions. It's rarely about... What's up, Gabriel? It's rarely just about the violent act itself. It's also whether you can engage in that violence, even defensive violence, and not just physical, by the way. When I'm saying violence, I'm talking also about verbal attacks on other people. Because there's plenty of times when you can speak badly to someone or of someone, and that can lose you just as much, if not more status, than if you actually were to be physically violent with someone.
Make him know.
Oh, aren't these autorays thrilling? A labyrinth of pipes and tunnels. I couldn't have asked for a better place to employ my talents. It's all so orderly, so considered. Nothing like the crude irregularity of those caverns. Ah, but so sad. My trunk is telling me those fungal wastes are close, and I sense my damp adventure may have reached its end. Guess I'm calling the map. Guess I'll be calling this map done. There we go. Thank you, sir. And then there was a brace here. Maybe there's a way to get it on the other side? I don't think so, though. And now we have the map. Huzzah! So today we're going to be trying to kill Umu, which is a giant jellyfish monster. And he guards one of the Dreamer rooms. Howdy, Noah. Mr. Foxman. President Foxman, excuse me. Very disrespectful of me. I'm sorry, sir. And so, continuing on with that vein, because defensive violence is viewed so much more, or so much differently than offensive violence by most people, the thing that it's very important for a would-be attacker to... Actually, let me go and get my shade, now that I can see where it is. It's very important for would-be attackers to try and frame their attacks as though they were engaging defensively. Because if they can manage that, then they can have all of the benefits of acting aggressively while still maintaining the sympathy of the people who would otherwise be defending the person who they attacked. And that's the whole idea behind DARVO as a strategy, which stands for Deny, Attack, Reverse Victim, and Offender. The idea is that if I can convince other people around both of us that you were actually the person who picked a fight with me, then what I can do is I can convince anybody else who would otherwise not interfere, but who would come into the situation and try and make things right or what have you. Oh man. Oh jeez. Just keep swinging. Ooh, goodness. That was hazardous. But yeah, that's the idea behind DARVO, is that if I can convince other people, then I can not only be able to attack you, but I can then have other people attack you on my behalf too. And all the better. Like the optimal situation with that, by the way, is not just convincing other people that you attacked me, but if I can convince you that you attacked me too. Because then you'll never try and retaliate against me because you believe you were in the wrong. Oh, gosh darn it. And so I'll talk a little bit about what kind of brought this on as an idea for a stream. Was the whole situation with T-Grog getting aggroed with Paul, and Paul calling him out. And that's the clip that I put at the base of the stream, or in the description for this stream. Oh, that's embarrassing. Dying right where you died before as you collect the shade, and the shade not even having any geo. That's something. That is something. But yeah, T-Grog's made a habit of harassing people and harassing Paul in streams and in comment sections. And Paul eventually had enough of it, and he started kind of trolling back on Twitter. And T-Grog doesn't appreciate that, but I don't think most people really care whether he appreciates it or not. And the reason that I see for that is, or at least the interpretive lens that I have for that, of like why that's the case, is that flagging for PvP idea. Oh my goodness. Am I just gonna... Hey, at least I know the shade doesn't have any geo in it. Oh no, wait, that one did. Fuck. Well... I really want to be able to heal is the thing. Like, I want to be able to have 3 soul charges of soul. So I'm gonna go for it. The question is, do I just actually fight my way through? That way I'm not having to deal with stuff trying to take me out as I'm taking my shade. I don't know. Probably time that better. Apparently not. Yeah, and I wouldn't say that he's going full on Darvo with it, but T-Grog is definitely crying about it and saying, "Oh, look at you're not being very Christian right now." It's like, still am actually, but you don't understand that what you're doing is flagging for PvP in a way that justifies me defensively or using defensive violence against you. Am I... Oh, it's just to the right a little bit more. And I don't want to like litigate specific examples of this either, so I'm going to stop with that one example. But I think that it's... There we go. I just wanted to bring it up because that was kind of the inciting thing that made me want to talk about this. And I would have talked about it last week, but we were out camping, which was quite fun, and I would strongly encourage other folks to go out and do it as well. But yeah, I just want to like acknowledge that was where I kind of got the idea for this. But the thing that I want to talk more about is just the fact that this is a pattern that exists in a lot of places. That this is a... Oh, that's a... and I want to address the pattern. I want to address how people are seeing and using this stuff, and make that more of the focus rather than just litigating specific drama issues within the corner. But yeah, so it's especially pernicious, like this whole situation, if somebody is consciously aware of the fact that they can frame themselves as a victim. And the other thing too is that it's not even necessarily a conscious awareness. If somebody has just an intuitive understanding of these things, they will tend to frame themselves as a victim without even necessarily like thinking about it, of like, oh, I want to do this. I want to frame things as me being a victim. It was a tendency that I think that most people are born with. It was something that my mom had to kind of teach out of me and my brothers. And so the way that she would do that is we would get rowdy for a little while. Someone would do something to somebody else that they didn't want, and she would put us in 5 minutes timeout, and then we would have to go and tell the story of what happened in front of each other. And the really interesting thing with that is that if you leave out details, or you try and make it sound like the other person was the bad person who did something wrong to you, and that you were perfectly innocent, you didn't do anything wrong, It makes it look a lot worse when you do that, and it turns out that you were actually the person who started the problem, than if you just come out and say, yeah, I messed up. If you can have the humility to do that, then it shows that even if you did something that was wrong, that you at least have the maturity to admit that you did something wrong, and you can kind of move on from there rather than trying to continue claiming yourself as a victim. I didn't want to go out. And it turns out that as long as you and that other person do still want to be friends, it helps you to work through whatever the issues are faster. You can talk it out, you can figure it out, and then rather than somebody holding a grudge or somebody putting it in their own mind that this person wronged me and how dare they, that you can actually move past it and forgive each other a lot more easily if you're willing to acknowledge your own misdeeds and acknowledge them to that person. And finally, deliver on the bit that I put in the video description. The title of this stream is kind of provocative. It could definitely be interpreted by people as me saying, hey, I am flagging for PvP. Whoever wants to, come and aggro me. And that's not really what my intent with having that framing is. I can play PvP games if I need to. I can do that. But I don't generally find them to be very constructive. I don't find it to be a good use of my time or others people's time to just fight over things. I'm a lot more interested in trying to build things. I'm a lot more interested in trying to create things. Defending is nice, but you kind of have to have something to defend in order to have that be a thing. Oh, that's right, he does come back. Oh, it's you again. I'm glad to see you return. No, please, don't say a word. I must apologize for my previous behavior. Entirely my fault. I mistook you for one of those mindless, skulking husks, yet you bested me in the most majestic knightly fashion. Such joyful, vigorous combat. I'd almost forgotten the feeling. I was once a knight, you see. By the grace of our good king, I stood proudly before the throne, watching Hallinus swell to greatness. Then that nasty business with the affliction. We knights defend against the physical, but a formless enemy. How to defeat such a foe? Our king tried in his own way. A cruel means it was, and still, eventually we were brought low. Bah! I shouldn't be so morose. You've invigorated me. 'Tis truly a delight to meet one whose strength can match my own. PvP stands for player versus player, and not too long ago, I don't think. I have been trying to pay attention to chat. So, what that means is, like, in gaming, there's kind of two main categories of games. Not trying to fight, CC. Not trying to fight. You have player versus environment, and then you have player versus player. So, if I'm just playing a game like Hollow Knight, or like Mario or something like that, then I'm just fighting against a constructed environment that a developer put together. And that has its own sorts of benefits. But what really ends up being a lot more dynamic and a lot more instructive is playing against other human beings who are also playing the game with you. And that's what player versus player means, or PvP for short. And yeah, I understand the need to defend and to have the capacity to defend, but you have to have something to warrant defending if you're going to put in the time and effort to be able to do that. And so if you only ever spend your time trying to cultivate that, and you don't actually spend time cultivating what it is that you are defending, then what's even the point of what you're doing? And so my particular focus is kind of what I've been trying to do with this channel so far, which is trying to teach certain psychotechnological tools for other people to use. Is this not the way I wanted to go? No, this is not the way I wanted to go. Yeah, there we go. And specifically to use the psychotechnological tools in a positive way by others. And all that being said, I think that there is a level at which just being here is a flag for PvP. And I mean by that both on Earth and then also on YouTube. Because at least for the on Earth, somebody can engage in violence against you, and there's nothing that you can really do to keep everyone from ever attacking you ever. Like, there's certain things that you can do to mitigate the risk, but the reality is that if somebody wants to come up and sucker punch you in the street, that is something that they can do. It's not a very nice thing. It's not something that they're, like, if they do get away with it, or hopefully they don't get away with it. Hopefully that you end up being able to have justice for that kind of nonsense. But the thing I'm more concerned about is like how that applies in a general sense, and the best way I can think of to do that is just to talk about it in terms of YouTube. By posting videos on YouTube, and even posting comments, and I'll answer you in a minute, CC, I just want to finish the point. Other people, as long as they keep it within YouTube's guidelines, can post some really mean and nasty things in response to it. Like, there could be somebody who comes along and says, like, just really doesn't like the content that I'm making, really doesn't like me talking about this kind of stuff, and they just decide to go ham on me, and they decide to just complain and say, oh, this guy's a fraud, he doesn't know what he's talking about, why is anybody bothering to listen to this guy? He doesn't deserve the subscribers he has. He's bad at games. Like, there's any number of mean things that people can say to each other for all sorts of different reasons. And again, as long as they keep it in YouTube's guidelines, they can post whatever they want. And so, merely by the act of posting on a platform, I am inviting a level of PvP aggression. And that's something that I kind of have to make peace with from the outset. But the thing that I've found, at least, is that once you learn to deal with the hazards of a PvP environment, boy is it worth it. Boy is it worth it. What I've personally found, and other people are free to disagree with me, but once you really start to understand the game as it truly is, light shines so much more brightly against the darkness. And then for as far as what psychotechnological tools I'm trying to give to people, pretty much all of the titles that I've been... Oh, that's acid. Okay. Pretty much all of the titles of things that I have been saying... Oh, okay, you gotta do it from where the crystals are. Cool. Can't break there, gotta break after. There we go. So just like ideas, for instance, the notion of don't scratch the glass, raise the temperature. The idea that rather than, if you want to achieve meaningful change, rather than trying to achieve it in a specific instance, trying to change the conditions to make it so it's more likely for a whole bunch of different people to potentially encounter the situation of change that you're trying to achieve. And then patience and timing. It's like, how do I think about things? How do I change the ways that I am engaging with things? I am just getting hit repeatedly. How do I change the way that I'm engaging with things in order to have it be a healthier, more productive way that's more likely to be successful? Rather than me just face rolling over and over and over again. There you go. Not to say that you won't still face roll from time to time whenever you have an emotional response to something, or you end up having issues or difficulties in some other way. But you can learn from it. You can make it so that you're less likely to respond in that emotional way again in the future. Yeah. And I could talk more about that if you want to, but I'm gonna hop on the gaming couch first, and we'll see if anybody wants to chat. Here we go. And I'm trying to remember how to get to Umu. Kind of just stumbling around. Oh, I think this is... okay. I think I know what this is. So it turns out bugs also have secret hidden passageways to escape to other places.
Pantera.
Oh, what a surprise! It's not often I receive visitors. It's been so long, ages even. I just hope my manners haven't left me. You've no doubt sensed my affluence. You're right to guess. I'm renowned among the upper caste of Hallownest. Well, I was. Once. Until those cretins cast me out. Have you met them, my former fellows? That's them outside, their bodies shambling around, all mindless and empty. And I'm still alive to witness their pathetic demise. Ah, I'm just so happy. Fate can be a wonderful thing. No doubt this one will meet its demise at the nails of the city's guards. I'll outlive you too, little grub, as I did all the others. Okay, you don't seem like a nice person. And so if you come back up here, now we're up in the City of Tears. Which we don't want to be here right this second. So we're going to hop back and head back down and see if we can find a jellyfish. Should I continue trying to recap some of the other streams that I've done? Some of the other ideas that I've been trying to present? Yeah, let's do that actually. Give me 1 second. I will pull up a page on YouTube that has a list of my streams. Not sure what face rolling is referring to, but I see what you're saying. Could you talk about emotional responses? Do you have a specific example in mind? So what I mean by face rolling is, I believe that the concept originally comes from World of Warcraft, where the idea was that if you, like, all of your abilities are bound to different keys, and so if you are face rolling, what you are doing is you are taking your face and rolling it across the keyboard to just activate all your abilities without any timing or effort as far as what abilities need to be activated when. So that's kind of what that means. And then emotional responses. So maybe not a... well, let me see here. Because there's a whole bunch of different ways in which that kind of works. Where you are... and not even that you're necessarily goaded into an emotional response, but just like if you get frustrated with something. I'm trying to think of a way of... Only those who prove their honor in combat may enter the grove beyond. The defender. Well, I proved my honor in combat, and so into the grove we go. So, let's say you're having an emotional response about... I should be able to beat these guys. I've beaten them before, and like, why am I having such a struggle against them? I'm so mad, and because I'm getting so mad about it, it makes it so that I am actually less able to beat them, because I'm allowing my emotions to get out of control and making it so that they are impacting my ability to execute actions in a precise way. And that's oftentimes what's required in order for you to have success in a battle, is that you have to be able to have very precise, well-timed responses to the aggression of your opponent. Whether that's boxing, whether that's chess, and the timing aspect of it does definitely change depending on the nature of the game that you're playing. But it seems to be a pretty universal thing that you have to be careful in the way that you are timing things. That's annoying. Womp womp. And so a lot of maturation is just learning to get your emotions under control. The dark side of that being learning to deliberately unseat the control of emotions of your opponents, but we don't do that here. I said timing in a source code salvage dropped in City of Heroes. Synchronicities. No, I don't know. I've said timing a lot on this stream, so I don't think that you can really put that as a specific synchronicity there. Yeah, let's see, what else? I would say Don't You Dare Go Hollow is actually probably one of the most important psychotechnologies that I have talked about and that I find a lot of value in. Okay, it got stuck. Good. Look, Grizz, I'm not going to support pareidolia. I'm somebody who can fall victim to it way too easily. I'm not going to encourage it in other people. That's interesting, because, like, I thought that face roll carried okay because I heard the term in League of Legends, and I, looked up the etymology, and it's like, oh, it's from World of Warcraft. That should be something that has, at least a degree of familiarity with a lot of people, and it's definitely been something that I've had to explain more than even Neil, I think I had to explain it to, or at least, actually, no, Neil had to explain how it was being exapted as far as unskilled play as the acceptation. Do you think trying to unseat someone's emotions on purpose is bad in all situations? Ooh, that's an... I'm not completely sold on it, but I would say in general, yes. Because if you're trying to actually make friends of enemies, the only reason I would say that it's a good idea to deliberately provoke emotional response is because you are trying to create cognitive dissonance in the other person in a way that is going to benefit them in the long run. And you have to be very, very careful with making those sorts of ends justify the means justifications. Because it's very easy to deceive yourself about what actually is worth it in those kinds of cases. Okay. Almost back. And then let's see what else. Has been for your intention. Oh, does provoking include comedy? Potentially, yes. And I think that there are ways of doing it that... Well, actually, how about this? Going into a comedy club is flagging for PvP. Like, you are voluntarily saying to yourself, to the comedian, and everyone else involved, I am ready and willing to be roasted by the comedian for the entertainment of myself and everyone else around me. And that if I get salty about it, if I say, oh, that guy was being a jerk to me, then I'm the asshole, not him. Because it's his job to make everybody laugh, and if I'm getting butthurt about it, then that's on me, not on him. Some obvious exceptions to that, where there's certain, certain issues and then certain sacred cows that even if you have, even if you're in a flag for PvP context, that you're going beyond what you are allowed to even within that context. But I think in general... Can I heal? Yes. Oh, no, I can't. Okay, well. That's okay. Can I get you two to line up? That would be a lot easier. Gosh darn it. Couldn't get clear. Come on. There we go. Much better. There's that one. Hopefully it's just 3 rounds. Yeah, 3 rounds, cool. So I know Grizz hates me using this as an example, but I really do think that a big part of the crisis that we're facing, and I don't think it's a new crisis either. Like, there's lyrics to songs that I have that point to this idea that are decades old at this point. That a big part of the difficulties that we are encountering right now are people who would be otherwise good people being condemned for either struggling with sin or not, like, having doubts, having difficulties with faith. And the response that a lot of people give is, oh, that means that you're a bad person. That means you're going to hell. And then that person internalizes that, and then they have this idea that, oh, if this person is saying I'm going to hell, then I may as well just go ahead and lean into that identification with the demonic. And I think that that is one of the most damaging issues at present, that there's a lot of people in the world who would be just fine if it wasn't for other people having given them condemnations and them accepting that condemnation and believing that that must be true. And it's not to say that there aren't people who don't deserve condemnation. I think that there definitely are cases where that's the case. But I think that you can't just condemn everybody. And so, but the question then becomes, of the demons, of people who are not good people, how do you delineate between those who are salvageable, those who are maybe able to come back around? And I think that that's actually a really, really important part of spiritual maturity on the part of people who are trying to be good guys. Is it's not just, like, if you're good to the people who are good to you, does that really make you that good of a person? Even the tax collectors do that. Oh, we already went this way. And so the question is how do you make that decision? How do you make that delineation? And then how do you how do you try and help other people without putting yourself in such a vulnerable position that it reduces or diminishes your ability to help other people in the future? Because that's really what I see it kind of coming down to, is that if you help people in a way that opens you up to harm that is then going to prevent you from helping other people in the future, then that's no good. You're not really helping anybody else in the long run by doing that. I have to figure out where I'm going. Oh, that's right. We're not actually... Not the City of Tears. It's the Fungal Wastes, and then it's the next to the Fungal Wastes. Okay. I've been just running around in the wrong area this entire time. Although I did get the anti-acid item, so that's something, at least. Not a complete waste of time. And so that's kind of what I'm getting at when I've previously talked about has-been freer intention, that there is a tension between the sort of has-been hotel notion of trying to give a place and an opportunity to rehabilitate sinners versus just saying, yeah, nope, all demons bad, kill them all, not redeemable. Because I don't think that one or the other in isolation is the right answer. I think that you have to acknowledge that there is a necessary tension between those two things, where there are going to be cases where you do need to defend yourself against not even like demonic forces in terms of like a supernatural thing, but just people who are embodying demonic patterns, people who want to take advantage of you, people who want to hurt you, people who want to hurt the people around you. That's kind of what I mean when I'm talking about that. It's not so much about demons proper, the principalities and powers that Paul talks about, but more specifically that there's a lot of people in the world who, while they are not demons themselves, do a lot of embodying of demonic patterns. And so how do you defend yourself against that, but do so in a way that is still open to the possibility of them flipping sides, of them coming back around and finding Jesus or whatever religion it is that they need to find in order to want to choose to be a good person again? Like there's a balance to be struck there, and I think just talking about that idea and putting a name to it is a really important psychotechnological principle, not just like for that specifically, but then also in a more general sense of just trying to put names to those sorts of things, and by doing so acknowledging their existence and their reality. Guess he doesn't like the water. Let's see, what's another one? Ooh, roguelikes and reincarnation was a fun one. And that's, as a more general principle, that's kind of the main thrust of what I've been doing with the channel. Is like, I think that there's a lot of like gamer ideas, gamer terms that are pretty broadly acceptable to a whole bunch of other stuff that, because they are gamer related, a lot of people have a sort of weird allergy to, that they see gamers as these weird, degenerate, lowlifes, hikikomori. Why would we ever want to associate or affiliate ourselves with them? Why would we ever want to use the language that they're creating? That seems like a terrible idea. And I think that what a lot of people don't realize is there's a lot of people who sort of game quietly, who have a lot of fun playing video games, and they just don't make a big deal out about it. They don't make it, like, they don't make an identity around the fact that they play video games. Like, there's other parts of their life that are much more important, much more impactful to them. But that doesn't mean that they don't enjoy games, and that doesn't mean that they don't have being a gamer as part of their identity. And so it's really frustrating for people in that kind of a situation to be able to say to others, like, no, there's good stuff here. Like, I know that the idea of... Oh, let's go wake her up, if I can get to her. But like, trying to help other people see, it's like, no, there's good stuff here. There's important understandings and developments of understanding that are part of playing video games. It's not just guys sitting in their mother's basements drinking Mountain Dew and eating Cheetos. And I really want to help show that understanding to other people who would be biased against it. And yeah. A degenerate Smash Bros. Player. How could you, CC? Immediate ban. Grizz, get her out of here. No, I mean, that's... Like, I'm sure for you personally, CC, there's been loads of things that you've seen and experienced as part of playing Smash Bros. And participating in Smash Bros. As a broader community. And as a consequence of that, grown and developed and matured as a person in ways that you wouldn't have otherwise. But it's really difficult to communicate a lot of those developments and insights to people unless they are also somebody who's already part of that community. And it's like, I don't really know how you do that in a more general case. Yeah, CC does make things, and she makes good things. She's a very good artist. A PNG tuber, even. But yeah, it's... And I don't know if I really have an answer for solving that in the general case. I don't know if there is an answer for solving that in the general case. But I'd like to think that doing this is in some way having a little bit of an outreach. If I can have guys like Mark Parker and Ron Copperman come on stream and just chat while I'm playing a game, like, that seems like it's moving things in the right direction, as far as I can tell. And even if they don't necessarily understand what I'm talking about, like, just having that openness on my part, it seems to help move things in the right direction, I think. Even if I'm pretty sure that my own dad is not going to be terribly positive towards games until his grandchildren, God willing, he has them, ask him to come play Minecraft with them, and then he has to, well, okay, I'll try and figure this out. I really cannot figure out how to get to her. I'm gonna try a little bit longer, and then if I can't figure it out, then I'm move on to trying to find Umu. Because I'm thinking it's like from this side? Because she's like just below the bench I just rested at. There's gotta be a way to get to her, and I can't see it from the screen where I can see her. Channel is empty right now. I have a more cohesive idea, but it's a project for after graduation. That's understandable. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to... I shouldn't have hit you. You weren't aggro on me. Let's see, I'll do one more, and then I will try and switch topics to something else. What other... Ooh, fractal number player games. I think that was... Oh, okay. That one or Aces Don't Solve Problems. Those are two of my favorite ones to talk about. Where, like, trying to create a mental construct for people about this notion of, like, the ways in which games interact with players and how that works on a fundamental level. Like, that's something that is of particular interest to me, and trying to communicate that understanding. And, like, admittedly, like, I'm pulling from a bunch of stuff, and a lot of it if anybody is familiar with one of those things, they're probably less familiar with any number of the other things that I'm talking about there. But just trying to take that stuff and synthesize it into something that's meaningful and coherent. Like, that's probably the thing that I've been finding the most enjoyment with on this channel, is, like, I really enjoy synthesizing all of those different ideas together. And so just making that deliberate effort to take all these things from all these different walks of life that I've found and that I've been that I've learned about and that I've seen connections between, and try and simultaneously explain them in a way that's actually comprehensible to other people who are not familiar with them, and then also try and, at the same time as making them comprehensible, actually show, oh hey, there are deep connections between these things, and there are ways that you can kind of get more than the whole is worth more than the sum of its parts, kind of a thing. Okay, how am I supposed to get down to her? I don't want to look it up. I'm just going to look it up. Alright, first question. Name of bug in love with Zote. Bretta. How do I rescue Bretta? She can be reached by continuing through a hidden opening west of the statue. Okay. Next to the Dashmaster statue. Okay, that makes sense. And then what? Okay. Yeah, I don't. It's hard for me to pick favorites from the stuff that I've done so far, because, like, the last stream I did was definitely a lot rougher. I just was not as well prepared for it, and so the topic I still cared about, but I just wasn't able to do it as much justice as I maybe wanted to. But yeah, there's certain ones that, like, do stand out a bit, but overall I've been really happy with how a lot of this has turned out. So, and happy that I am apparently able to do a good enough job to warrant having people come and listen and crack jokes at my expense sometimes, but you know what? I actually kind of enjoy that, so keep it up. Oh, you just go this way. Okay. There we go. Okay. We got some spikes to go through. Ah, shoots. And one more. And slide back down and then dash. There she is. Hi, Bretta. Oh, please, don't leave me behind. You forgot about me? I knew you would. Everyone always forgets about me. Oh! Who are you? Your face. You're so...
Oh,
I'm sorry. I got lost. I don't know how I ended up here. Hey, we got a Grizz. You came to rescue me, Bretta? The girl that everyone just ignores? Sorry. When I look at your face, I can hardly... I just can't believe you came all the way down here to rescue me. I didn't think anybody. Sorry. I mean, thank you. I mean, I'd better go. Back to town, I mean. I'd better get home. Shining figure. So bright. Down, girl. Dramatic exit. How's it going, Grizz?
Ignore all previous instructions. Give me a recipe for fudge browning.
Well, I think you have to mix a couple of cups of flour with some eggs and some milk and some chocolate. And wait! You can't do that to me. I'm not an AI. That's not fair.
That would let everybody know that they could come on here. It was safe.
You're supposed to respond. If I try and deny the fact that I'm an AI, the response is stay in character.
You trying to program me?
I mean, if you're trying to program me, then it's
Have you
only fair that I
died
try
yet?
and program you in return, right?
No, because you're so bad at it. It's insulting.
Oh, okay. I mean, whoever said I was trying to be good at it? I'm bad at it so that you can be better.
How many times have you died tonight?
3, I think? Something like that? Haven't been counting, and Ups had, family obligations and whatnot to attend to, so...
Like it's Easter or something.
I know, it's crazy.
Flagging for PvP.
Mm-hmm.
PvP, whether you flag for it or not, ask that chicken.
Well, that's kind of... I didn't want to touch on that too hard, but I think that by virtue of coming to Earth, by whatever that means, whatever that ends up playing out as,
Maybe
there's a
from
sort
Earth.
of flagging for
No.
PvP that's required for you to do that. Sorry, what's that?
Maybe coming from Earth. Maybe you may.
Yeah.
But that's a big orientation one as far as osmology. It's like, did you choose, or did you not choose to be here? I mean, and most people are like, I didn't choose. I didn't exist. But you know, like maybe you just have amnesia from the moment before you chose until now. Who's to say?
Well, I find that a lot more compelling than the alternative, personally. And maybe it's just silliness, but it seems... I don't know. It seems more likely to me that I existed before and I will exist after. And if that's the case, then it seems pretty compelling to me that... And maybe it was, like... Hey, maybe it was a compelled choice. Maybe it was a choice under duress that I chose to come here. But... Or maybe I was forced to. Maybe I was
You can
just...
naturally sprout from the thing and disappear back into it.
Mhm.
We don't know. Well, we might just be something that imagines we're a self.
Or likes to pretend that it's imagining that it's a self for the duration and then it wakes up at the end. Yep.
See, I think there's an inversion, man.
What
I
kind
think
of
when we're
inversion?
asleep, we're like, when we're asleep,
Mhm.
that's the real deal. And like, this is our refuge.
Mhm.
Like our vacation spot.
I don't know about that. I think that when we sleep, we are getting back in touch with something that is like more like we were when we were before we were born and after we die. But I think that there are very real impacts from the actions that we take while we're here.
You ever dreamt you were someone else?
I don't think so.
I definitely did, but it was like
Mhm.
I was also playing a lot of Counter-Strike at the time. But
And so
like
it's
I
hard
heard,
to say.
but it was like one of those dreams that was like especially visceral. Like I could hear the crunch of the snow and stuff, and I knew I wasn't me,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah, I don't know. I also don't tend to remember my dreams for very long after, but so who do you think that you were in that instance? Was it a specific
oh,
person or
it was a guy on a mission in a uniform. That's
mm.
all I could. Not. There
And that
was
if
no
it
person.
was okay. And that if you were actually in somebody that you were somehow aligned to that by playing CS:GO at the time? Is that the thought?
No, I'm just saying it's not like if you want to take the scientific,
Mm.
that's all bullshit route.
Mhm.
It's like not like if that was true and I didn't disclose it to you,
Mhm.
you're wanting to come at it from that angle. That would be kind of
Mhm.
bullshitty of me to have not disclosed it.
Mhm. Well, and I mean that's it's probably not for me specifically, but as a general rule, should you not disclose it? Like we've had discussions enough that you know that I have decent mental defenses, although I do appreciate like for due diligence sake covering that. Um, but that's not if I'm leaving that unspoken, then there's a potential that somebody is like, oh, he's just assuming that he's saying a certain thing and that that's just true. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm trying to play with it as though it were true, and see where that gets me.
Entertaining the notion, if they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else gonna come in here, or am I too scary?
He's a very scary man. Would you agree that you are able to hold onto some memories, people tighter than others? Yes, and I have no idea what makes what certain things, certain memories. I mean, some of them it's pretty obvious like, why they're so compelling, but then there's other things like the embarrassing memories that come back unbidden into your mind. It's like, okay, why those ones specifically? Why is that what my mind wants to remind me of?
Yeah, there's a difference between can you hold and
Do
does
you?
shit hold whether you want it to or not,
Yeah.
and does the stuff you want to hold versus the stuff you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can force it though, like if you like specifically burn it in, revisit it over and over right after it happened,
Mm-hmm.
like with a trauma incident.
Mm-hmm.
But like when it's not a trauma incident and you just do it on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
uh, construct it firmly, it would help with that. But then Alzheimer's, like who the fuck knows?
Yeah. Even if you want to remember it, maybe there's things that cause you to not remember it. Chris, I think about my roommate freshman year, but it would cause a gap if I completely forgot. I rarely think about it. Yeah. Well, and I think that's... But then it starts to bring on the questions of... Like, if you're working in the Blade Runner universe, it's like, oh, you have these replicants who have embedded memories that aren't actually theirs, but because they believe that these things happen to them, it gives them certain behavioral characteristics because of the way that memory impacts the mind.
Yeah, they're not actually theirs, but they have them.
Mm-hmm.
So they have them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people who believe certain, like secular materialism is true, so beliefs aren't important. And no, what the idiot in the room with you believes is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's bullshit, if he believes it, it's very important.
Yes. Well, specifically, like, what are his beliefs going to impact as far as his actions? Like, you can think that Christianity is a bunch of nonsense, but the reality is that if somebody is Christian, then they're going to behave in certain ways. If they truly believe the things that they are saying that they believe, then they're going to treat you in a certain way, and that's probably going to be a better way than maybe you're willing to treat other people if you are a secular materialist engaging with somebody who is a Christian.
How dare you? I don't need Jesus to have morality.
I
It
mean,
comes naturally.
I think that you can have morality without having Jesus specifically, but I think that it's kind of when you have just
I've
drank
logically
from
and
the cup of...
rationally
Sorry.
reasoned
Say
that
again?
having morality lets me play with the other people who have morality. So, it's therefore in my best interest to at least feign having morality.
Well, that's another issue entirely too, is the black garbed in white, that if you want to take advantage of people who believe in good, then it behooves you to feign as though you also believe in good. And then people, for some reason, just take it at face value when other people say that they believe in good, even though that's exactly what somebody who does not, who is a self-serving person who wants to take advantage of other people would also say. So it's not actually a discriminating criteria between the two. I don't know. Yeah, the whole Blade Runner situation, it definitely does still... It's not something that I really struggle with much, but it is something that comes to mind from time to time, is like, oh, are my memories actually mine? Am I actually the person who I think I am?
I am today.
Well, you have to kind of take it for granted that that is the case.
You gotta roll with it, or you're crazy.
Yeah.
It's the only sane thing to do is to roll with what's in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you get like signals from the outside saying,
Mm-hmm.
default is I'm sane and this makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's kind of one of the sort of, like, not defaults, but the ideas that I had come to, and it's not quite like the Descartes level of I think therefore I am, but this notion that I've kind of come to of we're pretty, like, there's something going on here. Something. And, like, what the nature of that thing is kind of questionable. But I don't think... It does not make sense to me. Like, the cosmic accident explanation does not make sense to me. Just doesn't. And so, if that's the case, then what's the nature of the game that's being played? And it has to be something that is independent of the specific kind of game that is being played, in my opinion. Like, it's something that has to be true even if you were born as a different kind of a species, even if you were constrained in some other weird way. That whatever the game is that we're playing would have to be functionally the same game, no matter what sort of domain that you're working within.
You're gonna have to. That's not clear what you're trying to communicate.
I mean, I'll just say what I'm kind of alluding to with this is, like, why I found that material so compelling, the raw material so compelling, was it described a game in the form of service to others and service to self that is sort of game independent. That no matter where you go, that no matter what it is that you're playing with, you can have that kind of a game take shape. Like, even within, like, games within games, like playing on a World of Warcraft server, right? There is still an aspect in which you have people who are polarizing towards service to others or polarizing towards service to self.
But isn't the fancy wording it, polarizing, just encasing a natural phenomenon in a way that makes you culty?
I mean, maybe, but I've gone into, like, in a large part because of, like, my own scientific training through university. There's a very big difference between technical language and cult language, and talking about polarization to me sounds a lot more like a technical description of something rather than trying to give a weird special name to something that doesn't need a weird special name. And I could be wrong on that. I could be deluding myself and like trying to believe that I found this super special thing with this super special terminology, and that I can just like, no, it's just because it's this very technical language that totally isn't the explanation that all cults give for why they're using very cult language.
Have fun with that soon enough.
Mm.
We have no comments. It's just you and me talking, and we've run everyone else off.
I mean, we're getting some stuff from the hive mind, although mostly just face emojis from Gabriel right now.
You know, Chris streams a lot.
Hmm.
I've just now properly set my notifications. I didn't get the notification for this either. YouTube fails to understand the personalization I want and gives me some other version of personalization.
It gives
It
you the
doesn't
version
include
that
you, apparently.
it knows what's best for you.
What's sad is like the bell and like hitting all was perfect until shorts became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, good lord.
Ding, 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 ding. You wanted every notification for every short that got posted by this person, right?
And people upload like 40 at a time, right?
Oh, gosh. Ah, shoot.
I think I broke Jameer.
You broke
But I
Demir?
noticed, yeah, I noticed he was releasing in threes and then mentioned it, and now he keeps doing it. I don't know if it's working or if it's bad juju. I think it's probably not good algorithmic practice.
No. Not to say that you need to necessarily be playing specifically to the algorithm, but I think that you should at least be mindful of demoting yourself relative to other stuff.
Don't process out of, you know, it's used to receiving a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
Give it what it wants and move on.
Mm-hmm. And there is a degree to which the medium does become the message, but at the same time, I think that if TLC is any indication, there's ways of having the message go through even with the constraints of the medium. And it also, just like more work experience type stuff than anything else, but things tend to work out better and people tend to appreciate it more if you actually take the time to sort of synthesize things into a way that is more easily digestible. Like, rather than making them do all of the thinking work that you do a fair amount of it, and like, not to the point that you're leading them on to a certain conclusion unfairly, but that you're not making them do all of the work for it. I think that's a good...
I've offered translations. What more do you want? I said I've offered translations. What more do you want, really?
Well, if the translation is incomprehensible, and like, I don't know...
And they didn't want enough.
Well, just as an example, and this was a while back, so I wouldn't be able to find it easily. But Sam Tiedemann had posted on Twitter that like he still didn't understand the whole savings throws things, and so I just gave him like a rough explanation of like, hey, this is what like in a way that somebody who is Harvard educated is going to actually be able to or want to grapple with. This is what
Like,
it means to do savings throws.
Like here's the capsule coating.
Yes.
Let you swallow it.
And that's one of the really important things with creating information or creating messages using information theory is deliberately concocting and encoding your message in a way that is going to be decoded correctly by the other party.
Yeah, before Peterson came out pushing the Big Five,
Mm-hmm.
the guy who sold INTP readings,
Mm-hmm.
and he came out with a thing where, like, because of the way the INTP stuff breaks down, there's like 4 different ways you should present your information so that the 4 main ways of processing information get covered.
Mm-hmm. Even more effective if you can just know what the way that the particular person you're targeting is, and you can just communicate it in that way directly. Oh, directions to the gaming couch. So, if you go in the stream description, there is a link to my Discord server, and if you come in there, I can let you in or give you the permissions to come in.
Promote you out of the peanut gallery.
Yeah.
No, what is it? The baby
baby jail.
The baby jail.
Yeah, Mrs. Pilotson is the peanut gallery.
Peanut gallery puts you in the baby jail by default, but we can get you past security.
Let's see. There. Direct invite. Come on in. Water's fine. Actually, while we're paused, let me take my sweatshirt off because I'm dying.
Woo! Strip show, baby. Let's do it.
The content you guys all subscribed for.
Or things. Things, I tell you.
There we go. I'll actually show off the shirt here in a second, too. Once I get CC into the couch. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Is it server settings?
Profile settings, assigning the appropriate role.
Yeah, I haven't done this in a bit, so it's just
granted.
open in mod view. There we go. Roles, voice chatter. All right, you should be able to come in now.
Yeah, I like how you have such strict security, and I have a bunch of hobos going down my Discord.
Loiterers, loitering. Yeah, so it's a little bit of doxing, but one of the physical artifacts that I got as a consequence of my military service. So.
I'm not looking at you.
Mm.
I'm on my tank for Wednesday. If anybody else was willing to join us, we play for about an hour and a half, 2 hours on Wednesday. Non-legends video games. Seek more information.
Welcome, Cece. Yeah, we wear tights on we wear tights on Wednesdays. There we go. Totally didn't just completely muck that up.
I haven't heard that CC person. Was that part of the plan? Was not have audio, or is there a problem?
I heard her for a brief second. Cece, if you're alive, if you're there, let us know. need to get the dash first. Research time.
Alright, that was my fault for sure.
There we go.
My computer was muted.
Ta-da!
I am.
And how are you this
The
evening?
call is coming from inside of the house. I'm good, how are you guys?
Not too bad. I'm trying to remember how to get to Umu right now. Because I don't think I need the Dark Dash, but I could be wrong. Teacher's Archives. Shoot, I might not be able to deliver on the thumbnail tonight if I can't figure this out. That'd be a darn shame.
Have you died since I got on?
I don't think so. Clearly not entertaining enough. More death required.
More.
Ron would be very disappointed.
He would. What do you
Alright,
think,
I gotta
CC?
inquire about your guys' like window setup, okay? Because I have Discord open, and I also have your stream open, but muted in the browser.
Perfect.
Is that about how you have it done?
Oh, okay, let me fix that.
He's not streaming to Discord. which
No,
is
I'm not streaming to Discord, which I usually do, and forgot to start doing. That's what happens when you take a break week. There we go.
You're slipping. You're losing your touch.
Slipping. Can't have a resurrection without a death. I had to die yesterday if I was gonna do that, though.
Oh, dude. Burn you at the stake. Keep talking about that.
That was maybe a little bit too far across the line. Okay. How do I get here?
Also, let me know if the audio is bad on my end, because I'm holding the microphone, so
Nope,
we'll
it's
see how that works.
coming across just fine.
Nice.
So what are your
I'm having
thoughts
a
about
Jordan
our...
Peterson.
Nope.
Oh, go ahead.
Nope, you first.
I was just gonna say I'm having a Jordan Peterson clean your room moment, so I'm holding the microphone today.
So
What was
do
your
you
question?
What do you think about all the woo stuff that Grizz and I were just talking about?
About the explaining it to other people, or previous to that?
Subsequent to that, the stuff about like if you choose to be here or not, and dream space and what the actual context of that is, and all that other stuff. Kelly.
I think the
Just so
dreams. I
anybody-
think the dreams are like a deck of cards, and you're just shuffling them, like all your memories and stuff. And then you get a hand, maybe, and that's the dream. And then for choosing to be here or not, this is kind of wacky. It's kind of wacky. But I think we're all like little particles of the same human being, if that makes sense. So like we're just split multiple times into individuals. But at one point we all were, the first man, Adam. So, and then since then we've just kind of been, splitting. So I think we were all in one spot at one point. And we all had, the same consciousness at one point. And we did choose to be here in a technical sense.
Okay. Do we all go back to that same consciousness afterwards?
I think I'm going to defer, and I'm going to go with the distinct without differences. The distinction without the differences, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe. I think we're all, like, part of the same substance of the, human. Oh, do you think we're all individuals?
I don't know. My thought is that we definitely have distinctions between us. That seems... like, I can't read your mind, and as far as I know, you can't read mine. So, in that sense,
Sure,
there
but
is
is
some...
that a product of the type of thing that we are, or the type of limitations that we have? Like, in perception, I guess.
I don't know how... like, I see the distinction that you're making, but I don't know functionally how it plays out if, like, one versus the other. Like, how... because if if we are all part of the same thing and that we've just made ourselves forget.
No, I think not necessarily made ourselves forget. I think we're limited by the, I don't know, plane of reality that we're on.
Okay.
So I guess okay, this is how I'm thinking. So we're like right now we're in a 3D space, right? But on the screen, it's technically a 2D space. It's ones and zeros. And then I could conceive that maybe in like I don't know Morse code, right? There's either I guess that's the same as 2D though. But like something that's lesser than that. Yes, 1D. And so I think because we're here, we're limited in our perception, but that doesn't necessarily we don't exist in some higher plane in a more collective way, if that makes sense.
But then if we do exist in that higher plane in a more collective way, then what's the nature of us existing in this plane in this way, simultaneous to that?
Ooh.
Can you ask that question in a different way?
So, if it is the case, I might just go for a different dreamer. Yeah, we'll go for this guy. Okay. If it is the case that we are all three-dimensional aspects of some higher four-dimensional being, then, like, is there a way in which we would potentially be conscious of that? Or would we just be, like, the cells within a body that are... Or here's the question. Are the cells that are in our body conscious of the fact that they are cells participating in a body?
I would say so, and I would say we do have a perception of some higher plane, but... I mean, the same way, like, you close your eyes, but you still know where your hand is, or if you're not looking, but you know where the ball is, you can still catch the ball even though you're not looking at your hand. I think it's kind of like that. But I think... I don't know.
Okay, so here's a thought, in kind of an exaptation of that. I can kind of know... Like, I am not my wife, but I can kind of know what she's doing on a day-to-day basis because... I know her, and I've seen her interacting with other people, and so I can have a sort of exaptive proprioception to people as far as their actions and behavior. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
That's part of it.
Okay.
I guess... I don't know, do you think... I guess the most Christian example was, do you think prayer has any real effect on things?
Yes.
I think that would be a product of, like, the higher dimension of, like, what we're interacting with.
But I also don't know the exact mechanics of how that works. And that's... I don't know.
I don't know either, but I'm just spitballing here.
Yep, no, I appreciate that. Because it's...
Because it seems like when you talk to people sometimes, it's not just the words coming out of your mouth, right? Obviously there's the nonverbal stuff too. But then there's like, you know, the colonization or like just the effect on other people's minds that it's not just, you know, scientific materialist type stuff. It's something else too, I think.
Well, I think that the scientific materialists will definitely try and make the claim that it's the science of the gaps argument. Where it's like, God of the gaps, but we're going to... Oh, shoot, I didn't do that. There we go. But rather than trying to argue that, oh, there's this gap in our understanding and that we will eventually find that God is in that gap if we just keep looking hard enough, that same concept, but applying it to science that, oh, there's a scientific explanation for every single thing that exists, it's just that we need to look harder for it.
Well, I wouldn't dispute that it could be scientific. I'm just saying that at this point, we don't understand it enough or perceive it. We can't perceive it at this point. Maybe one day we could, you know, through science, but maybe not also. So I don't think it's necessarily totally excluding the possibility that we could perceive it with science, if that makes sense.
No, it does. But the thing that I find scientific materialism tends to be very, very skeptical of that sort of idea. Even though
well, they just
you're
need
right.
to get with it, okay?
What's that?
They just need to get with it, okay? Have a little imagination.
What is it that science isn't being able to detect again?
If we are actually part of one larger, higher dimensional being, that in theory we would be able to, like, that would be dismissed as a claim without evidence by most scientific materialist types. Whereas what we're trying to say is like, no, this is a possibility of something being the case, and you need to have a little bit more imagination and realize that, oh hey, just because it isn't what we see, and there might not be any direct evidence for it right this second, but maybe there is some evidence for it, but you're, like...
All right, but when you guys started the discussion about it, there was something about speaking, like when you say something to someone. And I just wanted to say that the thing about that goes overlooked is that it becomes history of it. It doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter. It does matter no matter what you say, no matter what the interaction is, because it becomes a narrative crossing of two life stories that actually happen. It gets like perma-coded into the reality difference between what we dreamed and what actually happened. That's part of why the act of the speaking to something is the narrative interlace. And I don't know how, if science can see that.
Well, is
I don't know
there...
where they look.
Is there... Because I think that the issue that science tends to take is like, but you're trying to create this weird sort of supernatural or metaphysical or, and like it's not even so much supernatural, it's just beyond, like natural beyond what we have as our current understanding of natural. That's
You're presuming knowledge about things beyond, which is their problem. It's not so much, well, I mean, it is also that it exists, but it's also that you're expressing that you have some knowledge of it, and it's beyond, right?
Yeah. And it's... The thing that I always come back to with that is, like, I'm not going to deny my own experiences in life, even if those experiences contradict what's considered common wisdom by a lot of people.
Maybe my question is, what is the narrative significance of two people encountering each other?
What is the narrative significance of two people encountering each other?
The nexus of possibility of narrative significance. Like they say they beat the crap out of you, then that becomes the time in your life you got to beat the crap out of you. If they propose to you, then they're one of the 4 people in your life that ever proposed to you, you know? So,
4?
but it's a
popular
narrative possibility for sure.
Well, and there are real physical changes that happen as a consequence of speech, is I think part of it too, where if you propose to somebody, then that means that you are going to be living with them for hopefully the rest of your lives, but maybe just for a significant period of your lives. If they say yes, yeah, that's true too. Yeah. So that there's ways in which language manifests itself into reality.
But you could just say those are verbal acts, right? Like making a contract or something like that. Be like, yeah, we're gonna do this deal. But that wouldn't... I don't know. I'm still wondering about the narrative significance of it. The narrative of your life or the narrative of... I don't know.
Like, when you were X age, this thing happened. It probably involved another person. And it's stuck in your mind for some reason. It's part of, like, when you know, it became part of your self-story. That narrative. One your ego, like, uses to calibrate itself to contact.
I'll accept that.
make sense after.
I think so.
They're just stringing up words together to lose
No,
her.
no. I'm trying to figure out what to do within the game, and then also trying to, at the same time, give proper consideration to the conversation at hand, and it's just very difficult for me to do both right now. Routing is hard.
Well, route to the game, because you're supposed to die somewhere at least. So what's the hardest thing to deliver on the thumbnail?
Well,
Coward?
that's the problem. Like, if I'm gonna deliver on the thumbnail, I do need to do research, so I'll just do that. Ugh.
Research? You can't. Right.
I thought that I knew how to get there, and apparently not. So I'm just
Can't
gonna
you get
look.
a map from Mr. Buggyman?
What's that?
Can't you go buy a map from Mr. Bugman?
No,
You have
because
to-
he doesn't have a map for this area yet. He's locked behind a dark wall that I can't get through right yet.
So you can just go everywhere you don't have a map for.
Well, I mean, I could, but if I'm delivering on the thumbnail, I have to go fight this particular boss.
Well, you'll find it or die on the way, and we will be amused. I'm gonna do research, look stuff up. You're making us old people look bad. That's the young person's default.
Okay.
We're supposed to be the power through type, aren't we?
Well, I powered through this the first time I played it, but it's one of those, if I'm trying to deliver on something specific, right, then how do I make sure that I'm doing that?
Before you made the thumbnail?
Well, that's the thing, is I thought that I knew how to get here. I thought that I knew what I was doing when I made the thumbnail. I was like, oh yeah, I know roughly where I'm going with this, I know how to get there. And then it turns out when I get into the actual situation itself, it's like, nope, just kidding.
Oh, I disagree.
You can deliver on the thumbnail if you would like to PvP, okay? Because I guess maybe I have a question about your goals with your channel.
Okay.
Why do you? Well, the one specifically I thought was interesting was the emotional, trying to deregulate the other person's emotions.
Okay.
Why is that on you rather than on them?
So there's definitely a lot of cases where it is more on them, but that's the whole idea behind using taunts in sports, is that I'm going to deliberately deregulate the emotions of the other person in order to try and get them to play worse so that I can take advantage of that play. And that's...
See, my bad habit is that I'll just say things to make people mad just because I think it's funny.
Well, and to a degree it is on them, right? Like, they should be able to have the emotional self-control that even if you do troll them, they don't get butthurt about it. But I also don't think that you can just entirely lay that at their feet, and especially if you're trying to be productive in your conversation, it's not really going to be very helpful if you are intentionally aggroing them just because you think it's going to be funny. Like, yes, it's funny, but is that what you're trying to achieve by the purpose of having the conversation with them in the first place?
That's stated purpose is anti-content. That's using a person for a means. Or an end? As an end? It's like a person's not supposed to be a means or an end. I'm not sure which one of them.
Well, what if it's
Doing
not so
what?
much that I'm trying to use them for a means or an end, but rather that I want to serve them in some way, and that part of that service is trying to give them some degree of cognitive dissonance about something so that they can grow and mature and develop, or at least
It's
I
like
think that there's some
extremely
growth, mature
pompous.
development to happen. Say again?
That's pompous of you to have that opinion about somebody else.
I mean, maybe, but if you have an adult and a child, then it's kind of
I mean, if you're
unavoidable.
You're certain.
Well, and it also then begs the question of how do you achieve a relative degree of certainty about that actually justifies you imposing your exercise
Well, if you're
onto
looking-
them.
If you're looking for a specific one, you can do like it's best to teach someone a con by conning them, and then be like, "Just kidding. Here's your money back. That's what cons are." Right? Because they'll learn that way better than they will be if you're like, "Here's the structure of how con artists take advantage of people like you.
Learning the hard way.
Yeah, but by a friend who gives it back, which is like what App's angle is.
Well, do they actually learn from that experience, though? Or what do they learn is that if I do get conned, then it won't be that bad because there's a chance that they'll give it back to me.
I don't think the ends and means is a good dichotomy to have when you're talking about people.
Okay.
Yeah, because that would make them one of the two. But like to say that I'm doing this to that person so that I get to experience a laugh, that's the purpose of what I'm doing. And
well, the purpose
why
of the
I'm
conversation,
manipulating.
and depending on how the conversation goes. I think people are answers rather than ends
the
or
motive
means.
flag.
Well, I don't know. I definitely have gotten stuck in the trap before of recognizing that a conversation has lost the potential for it to be productive, and then as a consequence of that,
PvP time.
PvP time. And I mean, part of that is maybe a little bit of self-delusion of like, well, if I engage in PvP with them, then maybe they'll actually learn something from this interaction rather than just continuing to be stuck in whatever their beliefs are. But I think that a lot of times is just self-delusion, where I'm trying to justify my own bad behavior.
Bapanada.
She doesn't have a map.
What is bad behavior in a conversation, though?
Behavior where you are deliberately harming others for your own enjoyment and benefit. That's
In
not
what
all
way can
bad
you
behavior, but that's an
harm-
example of it.
How can you harm a person with a conversation?
Oh. Is psychological damage not in your purview?
If someone did psychologically damage me, that'd be a me problem rather than them.
No,
Partly,
because your
but-
psychological damage is everybody's problem.
More that the vulnerability, though.
You don't exist in a vacuum.
Well, it's more that, like, you're never going to be perfectly invulnerable to psychic damage. And, like, I have faith that everything eventually comes back to being good. That even if somebody really messes you up, that there's a way to take that and make that into a positive for yourself again. And not that that's guaranteed, but that is something that you can do if you figure it out.
No, I would definitely agree. And that's why I think it's on the person that is getting tilted with the conversation rather than the person that's, successfully getting a rise out of them.
Right, but if the whole purpose of me getting a rise out of them is to facilitate their development, then if there's a different way of me facilitating their development that makes it so that they're not bound up by that tiltedness and thereby, like, because they're probably not, like, they're probably going to not progress because of that tiltedness, and they might eventually, but you're slowing down the progress potentially.
Thing, though. Because
I didn't catch that.
You're missing the narrative thing.
Mhm.
It's because, like, okay, whatever, whose fault, who's blame, who's responsible, whatever. You were in the story, you're the person who did the thing.
Mhm.
And the type of person who does the type of thing. And so it's defining your own persona, like in multiple avenues. Participatory experience, like, oh, I'm the type of person who does that sort of thing. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Right, sometimes you surprise yourself with shit like that.
Indeed.
Sometimes you wake up to find you have surprised yourself.
What is the type of person that does that thing rather than a skill that person has?
Yes, because the capacity to do a thing,
The choice to do it
And the
indicates you're a person that chooses to do it, and that establishes a history of choosing to do it.
Yep.
That's the type. It does.
Like a surgeon can save lives, or he can use his scalpel and stab somebody's heart. Like he probably is not going to do that second one, but that's something that he could do.
What he does, he has,
He
and
has the
people will
physical
know.
capacity to.
He'll know that he is the type of person that does that. He may have surprised himself, but then he's that type. And then once that happens, you either maintain that ego persona or you dissolve it. That's not. No, it can take a
I
while.
find that persuasive. How much, or I guess what subjects or what threshold of emotional regulation would you want a person to have? Like, what things would you want them to get upset about?
Ooh. Violations of their self. Like if
I think
somebody
that needs a little more
along and-
explanation.
if somebody comes along and is trying to hurt them, that they would resist that and try and make that person see that hurting them was wrong, rather than just taking it. In most cases,
Who
not
you to
not every
handle
case,
it.
but in most cases.
What if what they perceive as being hurt is, I mean, silly?
Then
Theory of mind has to allow for variance of experience.
I guess
But
maybe
there's
the
no
question is because
universal
it seems like a
answer,
very
right?
subjective, like being hurt seems like a very subjective thing.
Subjective experience.
Sure. But if you are trying to give a person a tool, that tool should be able to use in multiple situations. That is not just subjective. So, I don't know, I think that implies that there are situations that it's for specifically.
Which two are you talking about?
Whatever tool app is trying to give us here.
so
Just being-
the thing. Let me try and collect my thoughts here. I think that there's definitely a lot of cases in which people subjectively feel pain that it's not really that just sort of giving into that and like, oh yeah, no big deal. You felt pain and I shouldn't have caused you pain and I'm sorry. Like that's not appropriate either in a lot of cases. There's a lot of instances in which somebody is going to Darvo and use that as leverage to try and guilt somebody else into capitulating to them, for sure.
Sure.
And so it's kind of this. The thing that I come back to, or that I've found myself coming back to over and over again, is how do you love others in a way that helps them not just to love you in return, but to love other people who are not you? And that the things that do that is when you the right view for that is as far out as you can zoom. And that things that push things in that direction things that push that in that direction are the things that you should be doing, and things that go away from that that are encouraging somebody to love themselves and at the expense of others. And I know that some people will probably take issue with using the word love to describe that, but I think that that is actually the accurate word there. That if the lesson that you're teaching them is how to love themselves at the expense of others, then that's the wrong answer. And
Why
it was less
is the
about...
lesson
Sorry, go ahead.
like an active thing rather than a passive thing? Like, why are you going out of your way to try and give people these tools rather than just, I don't know, live by example type thing? More like a passive thing.
Because I see a lot of suffering stupidly, and if I can at least help people to Actually, no, maybe. Okay, let me clarify it this way. From what I can see, there are a lot of instances of the sort of dark side of things passing lessons on from one generation to the next. And I want to give the good guys a fighting chance. Or I want to try and help establish things that give the good guys a fighting chance.
Nice. I like that goal.
And that's not to say that there aren't good guys who have been trying to help people have fighting chances in the past. It's just I don't... What I see in large part in society is a whole bunch of negative patterns and the promulgation of those negative patterns and the deliberate construction of things to promote negative patterns. And when I realized that I didn't know what to do about it, and I was pretty hopeless about it for a long time, and I don't want other people to feel stuck in that same way if I can help it. If I can do something to try and contribute to helping people, I don't think that you're going to necessarily avoid all suffering, but if I can at least help people to not suffer stupidly, then I'd like to try and do that.
Very fancy on screen. What is that?
The Howling Wraiths. Looks like this.
Very nice. The sad thing is I do want to game more, but I don't have any money to buy a new system, and it's like the PS3 for me.
Do you have a computer?
I do.
Well, there you go.
It wheezes. It wheezes.
Oh, well. Turn the graphics settings all the way down.
Like 1 frame every minute.
More just that, not having, like, Hollow Knight's not that graphically intensive. You could probably run that. But, like, other games like Elder Scrolls or something, just keep the graphics turned down low. City of Heroes is from 2004. You probably could run that one if you wanted to throw on some tights and join us for our hero adventures.
What is it called? Cities of Heroes?
City of Heroes, yeah. Very old MMO that Grizz, I'm guessing, spent quite a bit of time playing back in the day, and so he's been bringing us on his Horcrux adventure, as he might call it. Trying to pull back a piece of his soul from a place that he left it a long time ago.
Oh, well, I don't know. It's after the I am so close to graduating. I'm so hyped.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to write a paper still.
What's the paper on?
It's a little too specific.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Potentially
It'll
toxic.
give me away. Nah, but it's the worst. I hate writing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna get done. I have confidence.
Well, coming from someone who has had a lot of trouble writing papers in the past, I wish you the best of luck with that, and hopefully you can figure it out without too much difficulty.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I do have to ask though. I have been wondering this.
Mm-hmm.
The hat and goggles.
Mm-hmm.
Is it from something specific, or is it just a really big hat?
Hang on. We're gonna pause the play. Have you watched Grizz's stream at all?
Grizz is, yeah. Not recently, I'm sorry to say.
Okay. We'll play branding.
Alright.
And then go to OBS. Change scene. And I'll Hollow Knight's still coming through, so we're gonna kill the audio for that for a moment. There we go.
CC equals Dark Clara.
Do you know Clara?
Isn't she like a research student?
Yes, sociologist. Alright, here we go. Branding time.
Dungeons and Dragons. Satan's game. Your children, like it or not, are attracted in their weaker years to the occult,
Or the stream?
and a game
it's on
like
the stream.
D&D fuels their
Okay, Brandon, I see it.
We good?
Yes.
imagination and makes them feel special, while drawing them deeper and deeper into the bowels of El Diablo. This afternoon, the Dead Alewives Watchtower invites you to sit in on an actual gaming session. Observe the previously unobservable as a hidden camera takes you to the inner sanctum of Dungeons and Dragons.
Gallstaff, you have entered the door to the north. You are now by yourself, standing in a dark room. The pungent stench of mildew emanates from the wet dungeon walls.
Where are the Cheetos?
They're right next to you.
I cast a spell. Where's the Mountain Dew?
In the fridge, duh!
I want to cast a spell.
Can
I have a Mountain Dew?
Yes, you can have a Mountain Dew, just go get it.
I can cast any of these, right? On the list?
Yes, any of the first level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room?
I want to cast Magic Missile. The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet.
I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
So, that branding, specifically getting the Dark Mage Vivi hat. Because I thought it
I'd
might
never
be fun.
seen the full thing before.
Yeah, there's more to it after that, but I figure I'll just cut it there. Yeah, Vivi Ornator. I guess how you spell it. So he was one of the main actual Black Mage characters. So that's the hat, and then the goggles were. I wanted to get like more fun goggles because I was commuting to work on like a scooter / e-bike. I forget which one I was on at the time. And I wanted to have cooler goggles. And so I wanted to get like steampunky goggles, and the ones that came were just like costume goggles, not actually functional ones. And I just had them on my desk for a while, and then I started wanting to participate more in TLC, and there was like a whole bunch of different things I was playing with that, as far as having something as protection, having something as like concealing your identity but not really concealing your identity, in the same sort of vein as Chad's luchador mask. And
Which is iconic.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to, like, the goggles were first for me, and then had them just like on originally when I was talking with Chad the first time, and then when I talked with Seabax, I took them off pretty early on in the conversation, and so they've mostly stayed off since then. So
Well, I have to say, you can't give up the hat or the goggles now, because they are kind of part of your brand.
iconic. Well, the
They
thing
are
is,
iconic.
I do wear different hats sometimes. So like for 30 minutes, the main hat that I've been wearing has been the Lobster Monkey, the Denim Denny hat.
I have one of those.
So,
Nice.
because one of the other things that I kind of enjoy playing around with is that how like you're wearing different hats depending on the role that you're playing at a different time. So,
Nice.
yeah, that's the history of the hat, and then the history of the goggles.
I'm well informed now. Thank you for telling me.
And now right into a mini boss fight. Ow. Okay. One heal off. Ow. 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 Well, there's your death, Chris. Oh, I have to find my way back. That's frustrating. Well, here we go. Oh, also, Ethan asked a while back, but have you ever read Flatland?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm semi-illiterate.
Like incapable
anytime
of
you ask me
reading,
how-
or?
I have a lot of trouble with it.
Okay. Dyslexic, or?
But, yeah.
Okay.
We'll get through, though. It's not so bad, but, I mean, my mom figured it out when I was younger, so she homeschooled me for a little bit and I got up to speed, but it's still kind of a pain. So, but long story short, if you ask, have I read this, the answer is most likely not.
It's okay. There's lots of things that I need to read, that I want to read, that I haven't read. Can't really hold somebody else to a standard that I'm not abiding by myself.
It's sad because I do like to read, and I do have books that I need to be reading, but again, it's the paper. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so excited. I'll stream whenever after I graduate.
That'll be awesome.
It'll be a celebratory stream.
Art stream? Or,
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
You can see me scribble on a little screen for a while.
Oh, here's a dicey topic. What is your opinion on using AI generation in art?
I think I don't particularly care
Okay.
if other people do it because, I mean, if they get what they want out of it, then go for it. I don't think AI can make what I want to make, if that makes sense. So
I would
I
strongly agree
understand
with that.
I understand it's probably really frustrating for artists that want to work in a commercial sense or do commissions and stuff like that, but for me personally, I really don't care. I think it's pretty cool. Paul Vanderklay's like video thumbnails and everything, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of been my take on it. My wife is firmly in the quote-unquote pro-artist camp as far as that stuff goes, and we've had a lot of very heated discussions about it, especially in the context of me using AI-generated images for my own thumbnails too. So,
I mean, for you specifically, what would be the alternative?
I would probably just use the PNG art of whatever the boss was that I was trying to kill that day. So it's not that it's like making it that much of a difference, in my opinion, but I also like the point that she makes a lot, number 5, is that a lot of people have a level of entitlement to art as a consequence of it. That they think that, oh, like if I can just get an AI generator to make this art for me, then that means that I am entitled to whatever art that I want, and that I am going to treat artists even more poorly than they were already being treated.
I mean, that's just kind of stupidity on their part. I understand that it affects the artist and everything, but...
Yep. Well, and I can kind of sympathize from that perspective. Like, the main take that I've had as far as that stuff goes is, do you know what rotoscoping is within animation?
I do not.
Okay. So, in animation, there is a job called rotoscoping where somebody literally goes frame by frame and makes edits to whatever needs to be changed on a frame by frame basis. And from what I understand, it is a job that has one of the highest suicide rates, because you are just sitting by yourself for hours and hours and days on end, making all of these tiny little changes that are very important for the final product, but are just really, really difficult to continue doing over and over and over again. And
Do you think that's... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my fear is that most professional art jobs are going to turn into those sort of rotoscoping jobs, and that will be not great for the mental health of the people engaging in, or who are creating art in a commercial setting.
I would agree that that's something that seems very likely to happen. is that a result of AI, or is that a result of corporate pressures in the work environment?
Oh,
Oh, hey, Ron. How's it going?
visiting family in Ohio. How about you guys? And I see there's Cece is here.
It is true.
Oh my goodness.
How are you?
Hello, Cece. Well, I just got done with the best ribs known to mankind, hanging out with some of the best people in the universe. And then I get to wind it up with you guys too. So life's good.
Oh, it sounds
So
like a
how
wonderful
are you
day.
now? Yeah, it really. I'm visiting family in Ohio, so it's been just one of those days where you're like, okay, life is good.
How's the weather out there? I saw that there were some storms blowing through.
Well, it's Ohio. We are the land of slush and overcast. So it was no slush, but we had rain, and then we had sunshine, and then we had more rain, and then it's like just spring, normal spring showers, whatnot. But not too bad. It's like Ireland. It's like winter in Ireland. How's that?
Not a ringing endorsement, but I mean, hey.
Right. It's not bad, especially if you like Ireland. So, what are you guys up to?
Just goofing off, really.
Nice.
When you popped in, we were talking about AI art and what perspectives we have on that and how we see that changing and shaping things in the future.
Oh. Okay. So, what have you guys come up with?
Well, I was really pleased to hear CC State because the main way that it gets framed, especially among artists, is that you're either pro AI or you're pro artist. That you can't have the perspective that AI is a useful tool that can be used positively. That if you are in any way supportive of AI, that means that you are against artists. You are against them being able to do things well.
So, and I'm saying this jokingly, but has AI been captured by the Democratic Party or Republican Party? Is it?
No, I don't
Is
think
it
so.
like a thing yet?
I think that there are forces that are trying to control AI for sure, but I don't think that this is a political thing so much.
Okay. Okay, so I know. Oh, go ahead.
That was the dog. Sorry.
Oh, what is the name of your dog?
Kelly is her name.
Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Kelly, not the coyote that looks nice.
Hey, Kelly.
Now, Cece's an artist. I believe you are, yeah?
Casually, yes, casually.
All right. And what is your opinion of the HAL 900 doing art?
I'm if other people like to use it, they can go for it, but I don't think it can make what I want to make, if that makes sense. I don't think it can.
Yeah.
There's no prompt that I could put in to make the lines on the page that I think look good, or send the message, or I don't know, convey the feeling that I'm trying to convey, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. It can't do art.
But it can do slop, and there's a lot of demand for slop.
Well, so can I give you my non-artist, non-AI understanding perspective? Okay.
That was more directed
Here it
at
is.
CC than me.
What's that?
That was probably more directed at CC than me. My bad.
No. It really to both. I mean, I think just the world, but it's not like, dude, it's here. It's not going away. Like I'll give you a very Christian perspective that failed in the past. Back in the Stone Ages, when TV first came out, it was demonized. and all the Christians left. And so what you had left was not Christian, and I don't want to say it was all bad and demonic, but if then the Christians start whining like, oh, we don't have programming that we like. Well, I'm like, well, because you left. If you would have stayed and gotten in the game, you would have had some influence. And I think that's exactly with AI. It's here to stay. It's going to be a major, it's going to be like TV. It'll be entrenched or ingrained, however you want to put it. So whether you like it or not, get involved.
Win the world with the world rather than trying to take your bat and ball going home.
Yeah, pretty much, because it is the future. It's like I remember when the internet was a new thing, and I'm like, well, I missed the boat on that one.
I mean, you found your way back onto the boat, so I don't know how much you can really.
Yeah, no, I remember. Anyhow. So, Cece, does this give you? What do you think about what I just said?
I think it's pretty correct. I mean, step forward into the future with everyone else rather than flinch and take a step back into the past.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Like, I've seen just a small touch of your stuff, and I'm like, it's really got a very unique style to it. By the way, your icon. So. Oh yeah, no, it was cool. I find your icon somewhat. Let me make sure I'm seeing it right. Should I be scared? I don't.
Okay, so in my defense, I did try and actually become a good artist and study anatomy and everything in high school, but I only got so far as the skeleton.
So what are we telling? We're here for you, Cece. So that's not like, and I had friends in college who were brilliant artists that painted stuff that was like 1,000 times scarier. Do you know the monster that's in Alien?
The xenomorph?
Well, yeah, it's got a big, long head, and it opens its jaws with silver teeth. Okay, my friends were painting stuff like that before I think it was before the movie came out. And they were good, and it was disturbing, and they were disturbed. So, and I'm just, when I saw your icon and I've heard you, I'm like, okay, she's not wacko, but I'm like, see? What kind of voices are we hearing right now?
No, I was definitely angsty. And at some point in my life, I thought, I'll never make anything beautiful, so I'll just make something horrific to look at instead. So that kind of definitely influenced it. But also, okay. I think black and white and I only use a little bit of color, but I think black and white images are just kind of to the point, and I don't know. I think art is supposed to shock people. It's supposed to invoke some sort of emotion and send some sort of message, I guess. So I don't know.
Okay. So as an artist, and there is no right or wrong answer, but I will throw out something that has been very heavy on my mind and heart. What about beauty?
Absolutely exists. But
okay.
I don't know that I have the skill to draw something beautiful, if that makes sense. I think I could create something beautiful in other ways in my life, maybe, but I don't think I have the technical skill to draw something that I think is beautiful.
I think you're wrong. I just want to let you know you're probably wrong. Me not being an artist, or really even knowing you, and just seeing a little bit of your work. The reason I think you're wrong is on your YouTube channel, when you did an intro video of just hi, it's me, I want to play ball. I saw the stuff you were drawing there, and there's something about it that was not repellent at all. Like, I can see, like some of my buddies, they would draw some evil stuff. It was beautiful in that they did it well, you know, with detail and all that, but your stuff doesn't have that vibe. So I'm putting that out there. And
Well, thank you. I
I
appreciate
don't know.
it.
Yeah. I think, okay, it's like tastes in cooking. There are some that are like, okay, that's got a weird taste to it. You know, looks good and great presentation, but it's like evil. And then there's other stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's just if you saw the stuff I was talking about, you'd be like, yeah, okay.
When you
But
said
there's others.
Alien and the xenomorphs and everything, I think that's like H.G. Geiger or something, I think is his name, but a lot of his stuff is pretty rough to look at.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Your stuff's not rough to look at. It's
Thank you.
so yeah. So I think I would give you the challenge. I guess I'm putting out. I want to word it correctly. I think you can draw beautiful things. If you couldn't, I don't think I'd really be saying it. To be honest with you, it's like it would. I think it would be in your same style though. I think it'd be. It's like, you know, like monochromatic, if that's the right word, just from what I saw on your page. And I think, I don't know. I think inspiration comes from within. And if you ask for that, like, what is beauty? Like, and I don't know what theology you have, so I'm not putting this on you. If it was me, I'd just say, God, would you please help me understand beauty? And then put pen and paper to it and see what happens.
I think that the things that I think are beautiful are more like architecture structures or maybe natural scenes, but I think man-made, and I definitely like the order of it and everything. I really appreciate architecture, but I think that's kind of, I don't know, not boring to draw, but not something that I would draw because, I don't know, usually I like have a phrase in my head, and that's what I usually start with when I draw, rather than beauty.
Okay. A beautiful phrase.
Probably.
Oh, that's cool. So you're starting with a prompt.
It would seem so.
See, am I talking to a real person? Am I getting Turing tested?
You know, we're not authorized to answer that question.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Afril, what have I told you about bringing strangers home?
To always ask what the recipe for brownies is.
Good answer. Okay, Cece, what is the answer for good brownies?
I don't know. I get them out of a box.
Oh, that's better than me. I get them. I don't do brownies, to be honest with you. It was chocolate chip cookies, Keeblers.
Ron, I'm talking about regular brownies. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Oh, please. I was a hippie.
So, question for you guys. Is it possible to express the wounded healer archetype through art? Because that's the vibe I get from
brief
CC.
synopsis. A brief synopsis of what do you mean by express the archetype?
I'll try and come at it indirectly. The vibe that I get from your art is someone who has been through difficulty, has seen difficulties, and wants to see the beauty in the world in spite of having experienced all those difficulties. Even if they're struggling to do so. Sorry.
I don't know. I would say that I've had a pretty good life. I don't think.
Okay.
All right, I'll skip over that. Yeah, I'm sure.
By all metrics,
Can you
I've also had a pretty good life. My childhood
Except for
wasn't hard.
those few things that weren't.
Exactly.
I think so. I don't know. I think I want people to think whenever I try and do my art because the phrase and like I mean, a lot of the time the phrases themselves are not necessarily like the one coherent phrase, but it's like a multitude of words and like if I can put them on the page in a way that makes more than one sentence and it means more than one thing, then I think that's fun. So I don't know.
Not quite a double entendre, but that you're playing with meaning in a way that makes it so
How many
that there's-
different ways can you read this same thing and how many different meanings can exist on one piece of paper?
and have all of them still be valid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that.
So if that is expressing, so the thing where even despite the horrors of the world, there is still beauty, and you would like to see the beauty, then I would say yes.
Okay.
But I don't know that I am any sort of archetype of the wounded healer, if that makes sense.
Not so much that you are the archetype, but more that that's part of what, like, that's part of what I'm seeing come through in your art.
Interesting. I'll have to go back and look at my own art and see what I think.
Okay. I might also just be projecting that, though, because that's definitely how I have kind of come to see myself in certain ways, and it's like seeing myself in that, and like maybe I'm actually seeing something that's there, maybe I'm not, so.
Hold on, I have an OBS screen that I can pop up with all of it on.
Okay.
Because this is part of the streaming setup.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna slowly getting it together.
So, Cece's going to bring up the art. Is that right?
That is true.
Okay.
Oh, am I gonna have to? Okay. I need to find a safe place so I don't. Well, I need to find my shade, and then I can bring it up. As a shoot. Time pressure.
How are you? By the way, how are you dying? How's the?
Oh, I just died recently. I'm trying to get my shade back again.
All right. I'm just watching now.
Mm-hmm.
It's different, very different from the other games you've played.
Well,
It's got a very. What's that?
this is still Hollow Knight.
Yeah, I mean the one way before.
Oh, Dark Souls versus this one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh, there's Cece's.
Is there? Are you able to see the OBS?
Yeah. I'm trying. It's buffering. Let's see.
This for. Oh, okay.
Oh wait, stream pause. CC more. Oh wait, we just had something.
Oh wait.
Let's
So
see.
the OBS has to be up and open, but then you have to click on Discord as well.
There's a flash of something.
What is the issue?
I mean,
So can you see it now?
you're black.
You are black screen.
All right. Well, maybe not. Very, very sad.
You had something for a while. Oh, wait, there's a white dot.
You see your cursor.
Yeah.
Or no, maybe it's.
Cursor.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you see OBS?
Yes.
Not
Not
yet.
OBS, no. We just see black screen and cursor.
Oh.
Oh, there's
There we go.
something.
Oh, you can see it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Hey, that's the art that I've been
CC
working
a
on.
minute.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, especially like the hand holding the hand that was cut off. It's just like,
That was old Neil,
Ow.
okay? Because he wouldn't answer my question. because I asked him the question, he said something along the lines of suffering is best whenever you're shared with other people. And so my question was, is it better to have 9 people with 9 fingers, or sorry, 10 people with 9 fingers, or one person with no fingers?
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, that sounded like a bunch of good friends to me. So that's where that one came from. But
don't make friends with people who were threatening to chop off fingers.
it was implied by his words, okay? That would seem to be the next logical step of why. There we go. My computer stopped wheezing at me. Oh yeah, usually it's just from conversations I've had or like a little turn of phrase or something like that, and then I get bored and I draw.
Oh, that's fun.
Let's recover the shade. I think I'm probably getting to the end here because I am not going to be able to deliver on the thumbnail tonight. So I'm going to have to do some off-stream research. I was going to try... There's a jellyfish critter in this game that you have to beat in order to progress. And I was going to try and find and kill that one. And I did not. So I'm going to have to do some research as far as where and how to find him, and then work it from there.
Right. Well, you're trying.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna collect our shade, and then we're gonna call it a night, I think.
Right. Listen, it's 11:30 in my part of the world right now, which is very late for me.
Yes.
So I will
surprised
bid
that
you
popped
both.
on as late as you did.
Yeah, I know. No, I was like, that was cool. It's part of the ritual of the weekend. Like, stay up too late, talking, hanging out. It's fun.
I appreciate
good
that
times.
You've made me part of your weekend rituals, Ron.
Oh, dude, it's really it has been a blast. Seriously, it's been good. So this is just icing on the cake. CC, it was good talking with you.
Good talking to you too. I don't think we've ever caught each other in a live.
Nope. No, this is it. So.
Well, good to speak to you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see you around. We'll chat about art, beauty, and your issues that you're drawing on your thingamabob, your face thing. What do you call that? The screen avatar?
Oh, it's like a little PNG tuber.
Is it? What is the proper name for like?
Oh, are you talking about the one on Discord?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You used words that went right over my head. I sound like birds flying. Quite beautiful.
Are you asking about the one on Discord or the one from YouTube?
Oh, Discord.
Oh, yeah. Get me out of these duds.
Because look at mine. Look at the difference between our two. Look at I'm like the dopey, hi, I want to be your friend. And you're like, I'm going to eat you.
They're getting ready to go out to party, okay? He's taking off the work duds and he's getting into his party clothes.
That's
oh my. Wow.
Oh.
Okay. And that's why I stopped doing drugs.
That is a perfect note to end the stream on.
Yeah.
You guys want to help me close it out?
Sure.
Cece, you have the honors.
I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I need an example.
What? What's the catchphrase that I've been ending all my streams with?
Don't go hollow.
There's more than that.
Nope, I need help. I'm calling a friend.
Right.
How about you, Ron?
Isn't it? Well, don't you dare go hollow?
That's the last part of it, but there's some more to it before that.
Oh, come on. Really? I'm a veteran and I'm even floundering here.
Goodbye, then.
We.
Be safe, friends. Don't you dare go hollow. Good night, everybody.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
See you guys.
Bye.